In just 5 minutes, let us trace the rise and fall of ancient Israel and Judah, from their tribal beginnings to their lasting legacy. Show a quick map of the Levant. We'll zoom in on the region that we'll be talking about later. But for now, let's start here. The Israelites are thought to have emerged around 1200 BCE from the broader Canaanite culture. They were initially a loose confederation of tribes, ruled over by figures known as judges. The most famous of these would be Moses and Joshua, according to the biblical account, who led his people out of slavery in Egypt and into the land of Canaan, where he then died. But even after that, the Israelites remained a tribal society without a king or emperor ruling over them. Instead, they had a sort of council of elders who served as judges. Then, around 1020 BCE, King Saul is said to have united the tribes under his rule. He was the first monarch of a united monarchy that encompassed both the northern and southern regions. But he was succeeded by his subordinate, the Jebusite warrior King David, who captured the city of Jerusalem and made it the capital. Under David, the monarchy became a full-fledged kingdom. Upon his death, it was inherited by his son, King Solomon, who is traditionally credited with building the first temple, a magnificent structure located atop Mount Moriah in Jerusalem. This was a profound religious and political achievement, making Solomon's the high point of early Israelite history. It was also at this time that the famous biblical stories of Elijah and Elisha took place. But after Solomon's death, the kingdom split into 2 separate states: the kingdom of Israel in the north and the kingdom of Judah in the south. Now, as far as we can tell, the northerners were mostly Israelites proper, whereas the Judeans were mostly made up of those Israelites alongside other peoples, like the Jebusites and Canaanites who lived in and around Jerusalem. Now Israel was larger and wealthier than Judah, but also less stable. The 10 tribes of Israel changed hands frequently, being ruled over by a number of dynasties, including that of Omri and Ahab, famous for its wicked queen Jezebel, as well as the later Assyrian dynasty of Rezin. However, these kingdoms were eventually destroyed by outside powers, starting with the Assyrian Empire in 722 BCE. It conquered the northern kingdom, deported many of its inhabitants, and replaced them with people from elsewhere in their empire. So 10 of the 12 tribes of Israel disappeared from the historical record. They are referred to as the lost tribes of Israel, and although they played a major role in the Hebrew Bible, they leave little trace in the archaeological record. Meanwhile, the kingdom of Judah down south lasted much longer, largely because its existence was so closely tied to Jerusalem and its temple. It, too, was eventually conquered, however, by the Babylonian Empire in 586 BCE. That temple was destroyed. Many of its elites were exiled, and this event is known as the Babylonian captivity. But before we get to that, if you're enjoying this video and learning something new, please stay tuned for more. As soon as 539 BCE, however, the Babylonians were defeated by the Persians, who allowed the Jews to return to their homeland and rebuild their temple. So the Jews rebuilt the second temple on the same spot where the first temple once stood. And it would stand until it was destroyed by the Romans in 70 CE. It wasn't quite as grand as the first, but it still played a monumental role in Jewish history. Moreover, despite being conquered by the Babylonians and later the Persians, followed by Alexander the Great and then the Seleucids, among others, Judah, now called Judea, continued to exist as a cultural and religious center of the Jewish people. Even when it was incorporated into the Roman Empire, it remained an important site of pilgrimage. And this is also when the term Judea got conflated with Jew, leading to the modern-day terms Jew and Judaism. So the small kingdoms of Israel and Judah may not have lasted long, but their impact did. To this day, the region remains a holy land for Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike, and the legacy of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, David, Solomon, and many others continues to shape billions of lives across the globe. The story of ancient Israel and Judah may have ended thousands of years ago, but their influence certainly has not. That was a quick overview of the history of ancient Israel and Judah. If you want to know more about either of these kingdoms, please let me know in the comments below. I've got plenty of videos about each of them, as well as the surrounding cultures and empires. And don't forget to subscribe for all things history. Thanks for watching.